Book 130. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Morning Motivation with Matthew Daniels, and today I'm going to tell you guys about a cemetery full of jewels and stones. That's right, a cemetery full of jewels and stones. But what is Matthew Daniels talking about? A long time ago, there was a nation of people who were obsessed with studying about the ancient past. The king of this nation would send teams of his most brilliant scientists all around the world to conduct studies on the people and their ancestors. This king inherited a tradition of doing this because the founder of his nation believed that if one understood the past, one could control the present and one could create the future. One day, in a distant land, while doing an archaeological excavation, the king's team discovered a huge cemetery with hundreds of bodies from the distant past buried within it. These bodies were buried with different grave goods, but they all had one thing in common. Each body, regardless of age or gender, had a string tied around its ankle, and each string was tied to several stones with many shiny jewels in each stone. Some people had one stone, and some people had dozens of stones. The king and his team were amazed. They analyzed the grave and determined that the stones with the jewels within them were a symbol of status. The bodies with the most stones and jewels were the bodies of the rich and powerful, while the bodies with fewer stones were the poor and the enslaved. Because of this, the nation of the king began to tie stones with jewels within them to their ankles in order to symbolize that they were special and rich. In their society, stones with jewels became a coveted status symbol. Over time, many people in the nation walked around like this, and they were buried like this. Then, one day, after the end of a 26,000-year cycle, a great judgment of the dead came to earth. The graves were open, and the eternal judges hovered above the open graves in the earth. Then, a great separation of the people occurred. The people with the jeweled stones were gathered into groups. One group was made of people with many stones, and the other group were people with only a few stones. The people with the many stones were judged as being very wicked in life. The stones and jewels represented their many crimes, a sign that could be easily seen from afar off as the jewels shone in the sun. The people with few stones were judged as good and righteous because they had done little wrong in life. In the nation of the king, virtually everyone was judged to be wicked because they foolishly followed the practice of unknown men. Also, they all lamented ever finding a cemetery full of jewels and stones. And so, the morning motivation of today is a cemetery full of jewels and stones. Be careful who you imitate and be cautious of who you copy. You can inadvertently do things you should not by simply following behind a person that you do not truly know. Today, family, I want you to be true to yourself and do not be true to others. Do not idolize the wrong things and do not try to mimic the wicked. Separate yourself from all appearances of evil and go out and do good. And remember, you are awesome, you are amazing, you are wonderful, and you are great. And you are going to change the world. I just hope I'm still alive to see it, family. I'm out. Good morning.